Hi, Mr. Big G. Thank you for being with us. Hi,
Hi,
Darcy.
how's it
How
going?
are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we have Darcy here. We have Mr. Big G that's here, ready to support you. And we
Thank
have
you.
Ayomide, ready here. Welcome.
Hi, hi, hi.
Support. So we do have quite a few people that's going to be trickling in. So let me just let you know, as I told you, it's a simple girl chat.
Cool.
Relax. Don't be nervous. Okay.
hmm
Um, we feel each other's vibes, and that's really how the questions go. We'll talk about school, YouTube, Rizzle, Instagram, being a social influencer, and then you'll also have the opportunity to let us know what social issue that's important to you that you support and you would like to bring awareness to. Okay,
Sounds good.
awesome. Hello, Valera. Simply Bella, welcome aboard. Quite a few are coming in. That's
Hi,
awesome.
hi, hi. I should get my water bottle so I don't have
No problem.
to interview.
So, for those of you who don't know what's going on, my name is Martine Myers. I am the host for the Martine Show, which airs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST on Instagram Live at author Martine Myers handle. Today, we're here to interview Miss Darcy Jackson, who is a full-fledged influencer, doing big things on YouTube, Rizzle, as well as Instagram. We're going to be talking about her endeavors, and a little bit of school, some of her social issues, and that's going to be the entire interview as we go on. It's very conversational, very relaxed. So just stay tuned and we'll start very soon. Hiya, Jovi. Welcome
Hi,
aboard.
Jovi. It's one of my friends.
Awesome. I love the support.
Love to see you. Hi, how's it going?
Photo Mark. Welcome aboard. So in another couple of minutes, we'll get started. And we'll get started with you introducing yourself as soon as I give you the cue.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. We're both wearing black today. Is that
We
black you got on?
are
Yeah.
unintentionally matching. Love that. I always wear black when I don't know what to wear. It's just easy for me.
Really? Well, you
Yeah.
always look great anyway.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let me share it out a little bit more.
Okay. Hi, Talia. I don't know
Hi.
how it's gonna work because what's it called? I don't know if I should promote it or like how because I've never
You
done like
can,
an
no problem. You could send it to your group of people if you want to.
hi hi.
Hi, Ricky. Ricky's on.
Hi.
All right, one more minute and then we're going to get started with your intro and we'll take it from there.
Sounds good.
Yep, just about 8:05. All right, so you can go introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, and then we'll take it from there.
Hi, I'm Darcy Jackson. I'm a 20-year-old social media influencer and entrepreneur. My Instagram is at Darcy K. Jackson on here. I'm also on YouTube, just Darcy Jackson, and on Rizzle, Darcy K. Jackson. And yeah, I do fashion, lifestyle, and beauty content, and I also talk about social justice issues. So that is what I do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we're definitely happy to have you on board. We were definitely looking towards this interview for a while. We're so happy that you're able to be with us today. So, social issues. I want to start backwards with you because I
Okay.
know that you're very much involved and you bring a lot
hmm
of awareness. So, I want to touch base on the social issues with you.
hmm
Which social issue is like most important to you? What's more near and dear for you? And what do you stand for?
There's a lot of social issues that are really important to me, of course, but
Hmm.
I would say the ones that I speak about the most would be everything that's been going on the past couple of months with Black Lives Matter and
Hmm.
all of the intricacies of that, and also like how that affects like the Black community as a whole and the division we're kind of having in certain groups. Um, like with LGBTQ plus Black people versus like cis het straight Black people, and trying to mend the divide and talk about the issues with that as well. I would say that I'm particularly passionate about and disabled people because they're really underrepresented in the like for everybody, like as a person in general, but also like in the Black community, they're also underrepresented, and we don't really hear about what they go through as often
Hmm.
as we hear what cis het straight Black people go through. So I think it's really important to talk about that. Also, I'm vegan, so talking about animal rights issues is very near and dear to my heart as well, because I feel like that's something that goes overlooked as well, and what happens to animals and people having a disconnect between like what they eat and what goes on, like what behind that it takes to make their food, essentially. So people don't understand like the effects. Not only does it have on your health, the animals themselves, but also on the planet, because I'm also an environmentalist as well. So I feel like that's all important. I would say uh, the Black Lives Matter movement, veganism, environmentalism, and yeah, LGBTQ plus issues are key important things for me
Awesome,
when it comes to
awesome.
social justice.
I love it. I really love it because for you to be young, a
hmm
young Black woman at that, and for you to be able to stand up for issues that you know where Black women as a whole are being underserved, and then Black people as a whole are being underserved. I totally commend you for doing that because the issue that we've had before is that not too many people actually do take a stand,
hmm
and for you to be at your age right now to really understand that voices need to be heard is really important. And I definitely encourage you to continue on your work. I followed you on all of your social media platforms, so I'm very much
Thank
in
you.
tune with your work and what you do. I really admire you to the utmost. I may be a quiet fan, but at the same time, I see you. I really do see you, and it's
Thank
beautiful
you.
to just watch you rise all the time. For the vegan, when did you become vegan?
I actually went vegan, I think about like 6 to 7 years now ago, because
Hmm.
before that I was vegetarian, and then even before that I was pescatarian. So I really had like an early awakening into issues affecting animals and environmentalism, and how it always that all goes together, because I've always been such a curious person and I've always been a researcher. So literally in fifth grade, I was like researching the sad and the third, and I was researching the. I think I had a project. I think that's how like it all happened. I had a project about animal farming and the animal husbandry industry or whatnot. And when I researched everything for my project, I was like, I can't eat meat anymore. So then I went pescatarian and I was only eating fish and veggies and whatnot. And then I continued researching further into that and then what they do in the fishing industry as well. And I was like, can't eat fish anymore. And then
Hmm.
I'm going to go vegetarian. And then then I was vegetarian for like a good, I would say 3 years, until like eighth grade, ninth grade. And I was like, there's Gary Yourofsky. He's a profound animal rights speaker, and I learned about him on YouTube. And I saw his one speech. I think it's called "The Best." Gary Yourofsky's "The Best Speech Ever," and it really just opened my mind. And I was like, if I am like fighting for animal rights, and I'm like, what's it called? As active as I claim to be, why am I still supporting industries that still hurt animals? Because not a lot of people know that the dairy industry and the egg industry also hurt animals, and the bee industry as well. So I was just like, I have to stop, what's it called, using, because even though I'm not eating animals, there's a lot that goes into the making of their byproducts, right? Getting milk that's turned into butter and cheese and yogurt or whatnot. Same for eggs that we eat. So I was like, I have to stop eating that. And then that one wasn't that hard of a transition either, because like I was just like already like waning away, because I was like an ovo-lacto vegetarian, which means that you
Hmm.
eat both eggs and dairy. And then I became a lacto vegetarian, and I stopped eating eggs completely because I was just grossed out by them. Like that was just my own thing before I even started researching it. And then after that, after researching it, I was like, I can't drink milk or anything that contains milk anymore as well. And then I went vegan, and that was, what's it called? I'd say like the most interesting and eye-opening journey that from like the jumps from pescatarian to vegetarian to veganism. So
Hmm.
I learned a lot. I have like bought many books and did a lot of research, watched a lot of documentaries, and really understood what I was getting into, because like there's a difference between veganism and being plant-based, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that. So
Okay.
veganism is a whole ethical stance on like you're not going to consume animals or their byproducts or anything that contains animal, like, or animals are affected negatively by. So you're not going to buy products that aren't cruelty free. You're not going to buy leather. Um, you're not going to buy silk. You're not going to buy wool. You're not going to buy
Fur.
fur. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was
Hmm.
like mink lashes, anything like that. So
Hmm.
yeah, and then being plant based is just only with the eating stance, where you're just not going to eat animals or their byproducts. So that's the big
Mm.
difference. So like I said, I've been
So
vegan 6, 7 years now.
6, 7 years?
Yeah.
Wow. And how do you feel so far
I
being
feel really
vegan?
good. I also noticed a huge difference, even like between being vegan and vegetarian, which was really shocking or whatnot, because you don't understand like what dairy does to your skin and what to your body, and
Hmm.
eggs do to your body or whatnot. And I was like really lackluster before. Like I had like a whole personality change too. It was kind of weird,
Hmm.
and I had like digestive problems, so it really helped my health. At an early age going vegan, and then it helped my overall mood, and I just felt a lot happier and full of life. And I had acne like before as well, and it started clearing up, like, what's it called, when I stopped eating dairy, because I used to be a huge pizza lover. Like I just always order what's it called, Pizza Hut pizza or whatnot, and with veggies, and eat that or whatnot. So it was a really big change, I would say.
Wow. So you went vegan pretty much at a very young age. So
Yes.
did your household go vegan with you, or were you on this journey by yourself?
I went vegan extremely by myself. It was just me, And at first they didn't understand it. They thought it was an eating disorder. And I was like, no, like y'all saw me be vegetarian. Like veganism isn't about restriction. It's about helping the animals. It's about helping people. It's about helping the environment. And anything that y'all can eat, I can make vegan. So they're not understanding that, like, at that time, that when I went vegan was the perfect time to go vegan around like 2014, 2015, because the world was shifting to go vegan, and all of the there was a lot of products that were coming out that were vegan. There was almond milks and vegan cheeses and vegan meats and all sorts of stuff like that. So I wasn't missing out on anything, and I didn't like have any cravings or like crave the flavor of meat or whatever, because I already at that point I was vegetarian, so I was not eating meat for a good 3 years before I ever before I ever went vegan. And then
Mhm.
I was already kind of transitioning off of eggs and dairy on my own because I just didn't like how it affected my body or how it tasted or whatnot. So it wasn't really a hard transition for me, but I was definitely the only one in the household, and I had to educate them. I had a whole PowerPoint about veganism and everything for them. And then at the end, they're like, oh, yeah, it is, what's it called, better for your health. It's better for the planet. It's better for the environment. Like, we see what you're doing. Go you. So after
So,
that, they were on board.
so you're definitely a well-rounded activist at home, in school, wherever you are.
Very
You're
much.
always
Yes.
advocating.
Yes. All the time.
Awesome. Oh
Even when
my
it's the
goodness.
least popular, run into a lot of conflicts trying to be a nonconformist. So
I'm sure.
it,
I'm sure. But I
yeah.
love it. I love your spirit. I love your encouragement. Your drive is phenomenal, and you're
Thanks.
very passionate about every single thing that you do, every single thing that you talk about. You're so passionate about it. Like, can you just sprinkle all of us here? Sprinkle all the people on the live with that energy because it's
Passion, passion,
so it's
passion.
so beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
it's what everybody needs. Seriously, we have a few
Right.
people in the chat room that I do want to acknowledge. Michael in the middle, welcome aboard.
That's my best friend. Hey,
Uh,
Michael.
Sukaino, Troy Lewis, welcome, welcome. Zachary, hey, what's up? How you doing? Welcome
Hi,
aboard.
guys.
Gabby, Sin, Dwayne Hurt. Thank you so much for supporting Darcy. Hey, Jovi, yes, she is one of the most positive people I know. She sure
Oh,
is.
thank you,
She has like,
Jovi. Appreciate that.
yeah. And you know what? And your vibe is so captivating, you know?
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
you're very much, like I said, ongoing activist, always at it, but you're very much an educator as well because you do
hmm
your research, you're informed, and you're willing to share what you know
hmm
to make your point, which is really beautiful. Michael in the middle is saying, period. She gives some amazing vibes, and her videos are so amazing. Yes, for
Oh,
sure.
thank you.
For sure, for sure. So we talked about the vegan part, but
Right.
before you got to vegan, you were vegetarian, and I believe
Yes.
before that you were pescatarian. So
Right.
do through all of these changes,
hmm
your household pretty much you kind of like converted them through each change, or you were just
Um,
on your own doing it?
the only one that like was my mom kind of went with me through some of the changes. Just pescatarian at first because she's a seafood lover, like crawfish boils, the whole nines or whatnot, because she's
I'm one of those too. So
yeah, since we're from Texas, we're from the South. So very much that. So she was with me on that. And then I forgot what happened, but she went back to eating meat or whatnot. But being vegetarian and vegan was all on my own in my household. My sister was like, she tried to join me like a couple times where she always said, I'd go vegetarian in the future or I'd go vegan in the future or whatnot. But it was always in the future, right? And it was not in the present. So like when I grow up or whatnot, because my mom used to always cook every night, and of course she used to always cook meat every night, so she was just like, Darcy, I'm gonna eat that. And I'm like, it's okay, no one's holding you, you do you. So
wow.
it was very much that. She only went with me, my mom only went with me through pescatarian. My sister was always like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. So we're still waiting on it, still waiting on it.
How many siblings do you have?
I only have one sister, my sister
Okay,
Kylie. She's a year younger
okay.
than me.
Oh, okay. So
in
it's
my
not really
opinion.
that much of a big gap. All right.
No.
Mr. Wrench Turner, welcome aboard. Thank you for supporting Darcy. We have Zachary has a question for you. He says,
Okay.
Darcy, how can you help me because I'm extremely stubborn? So I guess he's referring to your different eating habits, the changes, and how you just conform drastically to each
Right.
change until you got to where you were most comfortable.
Right. So my journey, I would say, is uncommon. It's not common for most vegetarians or even vegans to like go from change to change to change. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
like they go through different phases or whatnot, but as drastic I did it, like everything happened with like in a course of a year. I went from pescatarian to vegetarian in a year and then went from vegetarian to like vegan, I think in a course of like 3 to 6 months. So that's not really common if you're not like used to being pescatarian or vegetarian or whatever before. So I would say the best case and the best starter point so it's more sustainable because veganism is a lifestyle and not a diet, and sometimes I feel like people don't understand that as well. So in order to like not push your body too far and get let your body adjust to the changes, because there are going to be some changes that come with like drastically changing your diet from a meat eater to a pescatarian or a vegetarian or a vegan, I would say to start as like a flexitarian. And what flexitarians are is that they have like 1 to 2 meals, maybe 3 meals max a week that are like more plant based, whether that's vegetarian or vegan, just to get yourself used to eating some meals that don't have meat in it or don't have eggs or don't have dairy in it. So I would say to start there and then like build it up from there and then like do swaps. So like if
Hmm.
you think you can take to what's it called, get rid of dairy this week, you know, buy an almond milk, just like conscious decisions that you make at the grocery store. I would
Hmm.
say it really starts in what you purchase, because if you purchase like all meat for the week, all dairy for the week, all eggs for the week, what are you gonna eat? All of that, right? But if
Yeah.
you have a little bit of vegetarian or vegan options here and there, then you're going to more likely weigh into there. So, like in your creamer, if you purchase like an almond milk creamer instead of a dairy
Hmm.
creamer, you're more likely to use that. Or if you purchase almond milk instead of dairy milk, then you'll use that in your cereal. Little things like that. So you're subconsciously conditioning your mind to
Hmm.
eat more plant-based, but you're not like forcing it on yourself, if that makes sense. You're not like I have to drink almond milk, I have to
Hmm.
eat vegan cheese, this, that, and the third. I think that is works best, and then just keep working from there until you work eggs and meat and dairy out of your diet. But I
So
wouldn't say it's a race, it's more of a marathon.
so it's basically a gradual effort,
Yeah.
little by little type thing. Okay, now,
Yes.
did your body ever go through like a some type of shock syndrome from one phase to another? You know?
um as far as I remember, not really. Like, I would say that I didn't have any negative changes. I would say I only had positive changes from going vegetarian to vegan. The change from pescatarian to vegetarian didn't really do anything, but from vegetarian to vegan, it affected my skin because, like I said before, I had acne and I had digestional troubles. So I definitely, what's it called? I definitely saw the change there.
Hmm.
So, I'm trying to think of after effects. After effects.
Hmm.
Because I'm really like, what's it called? Oh, I know something that was something for me. Honey. It's a big topic, a big issue for vegans or whatnot. Honey isn't vegan, and that was something that I didn't find out until later.
Hmm.
Honey's plant-based, but it's not vegan because vegan is an ethical stance. So you wouldn't want to take a byproduct from a bee that wasn't meant for you. So, that's the um that's the reasoning behind that. So had a hard time, I would say, weaning off honey because as a vegetarian, I had like bagels. Like, you don't know how many things like contain animal products in
Right.
there
And
until like
things that contain eggs,
yeah, and contain
you know.
eggs, yeah, until you read the labels or whatnot. And I wasn't. Oh yeah, and hot Cheetos because they have what's it called, cheese, and I wasn't able to eat hot Cheetos anymore, so
Oh,
I transitioned to Takis, which were good or whatnot. But yeah, you don't
right.
realize. So I'd say those little changes got me there. And my bagels, my favorite bagels that I ate, I don't know remember what they were, but I ate them every morning for breakfast, and they had honey in them. And I was like, yeah, gonna have to stop that. So that took me a minute to get off that, but that's the only like problem area I would say I had. And then from then on, I was checking every label at the grocery store and looking up different things. 'Cause there's a lot of helpful vegan websites and resources out there to make sure that you don't eat non-vegan things. So
Wow.
yeah,
So, Zachary was asking that you referred to almond milk. How does it taste? I mean, I can answer that. I've been drinking almond milk for years and I love it, you know.
same.
Yeah, and it's rich. It's a lot. It tastes better for me. It's a lot healthier. The reason
Yes,
why I got into that, and also I want to talk about reading food labels, which is important, is because
very important.
I was sick with the condition of fibroids for a long time. So I had to basically watch what I ate because a lot of it was contributing to those, tumors being formed. So um, I had to make adjustments. I had to make changes to my diet. And there are certain things that I just could not put in my system after a while because that's what it
Smart.
was doing to me. So I'm glad that you're talking about this because it doesn't matter who you are or what gender or whatever. All of us should be informed on this, like being able to read food labels so we could know exactly what is contained into the product that we were buying, what we're
Yes,
consuming on a daily basis, whether you become vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, whatever it is, but you need to actually have that as a primary knowledge for you to know the difference. I always
right.
tell people the things that you cannot pronounce are the things that are most likely bad for you.
Yeah, don't eat them.
And
It's
they have a lot of
scary.
stuff on them, and they're all preservatives for the most part,
Yes,
you know? And that's something that we all need to get into and actually implement within our lives, like being able to interpret like a whole food label, know what
right,
nutrition is all about. It's important. It's really important.
right.
And how
Food
did you
label
get like I
literacy.
know you got into food labels because you became a vegetarian, but at
Hmm.
the same time, um, talk to me about the experience of reading a food label. Like when you picked up your first food label and said that I want to understand and know what this is all about. Like what was your
Hmm.
experience like?
My experience was like, of course, at the beginning of anything, you're a little rusty or whatnot, but I look up everything. Like, if I read something and I don't know what it is, I look it up because there's a lot
Um,
of things like different animal products that are like disguised as different names. Like, gelatin is pig bones, but nobody knows that because, and it's in like everything. It's in marshmallows, it's in jello, it's in fruit snacks, a lot of different things. So when I picked up my first label, I was, of course, the key things that I looked for as a vegetarian was just no meat products and what I'm thinking. They're very sneaky. They're so sneaky in the food industry. So yeah, no meat products. So because they're described in different names. So like mono monodiglycerides
yes.
is a what's it called, meat product.
Hmm.
High fructose corn syrup as well on the health side as well because I'm very health conscious obviously as well. So I make sure things don't have high fructose corn syrup, aspartame, um, or like red dye, any food coloring, um, stuff like that. And
Hmm.
what is it? There was like lactose something, like anything lactose something that they try to do. Like I don't purchase that.
Hmm.
Um, enzymes.
Yes,
Um,
enzymes.
that's another what's it called, animal product that they try to sneak in there as well, so I don't purchase anything with that as well. So there's like a whole list that I have um online or whatnot. There's a whole list online about like things that are non-vegetarian or non-vegan that are in common food or whatnot, and I like know some of them, like I've memorized some of them, but again, time and time again, things change, right? So whenever I
Absolutely.
don't understand something that I'm reading, I always just look it up. That's just my key thing, if I don't know what it is, I look it up, and then if I determine that it's unhealthy or it's not vegetarian, and then now not vegan, then I put it back. So
Wow.
that's how my food label literacy went
Well,
goes.
basically, that's typical. That's the way it should go for most people. And that's actually the way it went for me. Like, note for note, I had to really start looking into a lot of things that I was putting in my system. And that brought some type of awareness to me to know exactly like certain things that my body doesn't agree with because I had a hard time digesting it. And with having a hard time to digest it, then it created something else in my body. That's how I ended up with tumors, and stuff like
That's
that.
so scary.
So it's just, I'm glad that we're having this conversation because it's bringing a lot of awareness. My YouTube channel, which is called Faces of Uterine Fibroids, which has contributed to my personal story, but I do educate on behalf of women's health consistently on it. So you could check that out and see. I do have a video on
I'll be
food
sure.
labels, by the way. That's the reason why I'm so in tune to wanting to ask you about food labels because I do have a
Right.
video just for that and a section just for that because nutrition is exclusively important. And it's not only for women's health, it's for everyone's health, basically.
Hmm.
Because we tend to have a lot of issues that are derived from the stuff that we eat, but we're not aware of it. And
Right.
unfortunately, being in healthcare, I know the healthcare industry is not really geared towards actually telling you what you should and shouldn't eat because
Hmm.
it's supposed to be preventive, but it really isn't. You know what I mean? You
No,
become
there's a lot of
on that,
misinformation out there.
yeah, you become on that preventive note, basically, if you start doing your own health awareness, which is what we do, you know?
Hmm.
But afterwards, like typically most people, they end up pretty much seeing their physician when a problem arises. And by
Right.
then it
It's
could
kind of too late.
possibly be too late. Yeah. Yeah. So we have more people in the room. DC, GQ,
Hi, guys.
um, Renee, Anderson, and Zachary has another question. So companies are basically all the time lying to us almost about all products if you want to say that,
Sadly.
for the most
Like,
part,
just because
technically,
things are FDA approved doesn't mean that they're healthy for
that's
you
good for
or they're
you.
safe for consumption, which is the
Right.
scary part. So, yeah.
Um, it's so funny that you're saying that too. And, you have to understand that some things are actually approved because it's profitable. Okay. It's,
Here we go.
it's a nice profit margin that they really could bank on,
And they
so.
overlook certain things and subsidize different meat and dairy and egg products and whatnot, so they're more accessible to the masses, so the food companies can make more money, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily healthy for you or safe for you to consume in some regards. So you always have to
Mhm.
check labels and verify where your food is coming from, sadly. It's the world we
Talia
live
is
in.
asking, some people say that going vegan or vegetarian is more expensive. Is that true?
I would say it all depends on where you live because most countries, like, we don't realize um when there's a lot of criticisms about like vegan vegetarianism or whatnot, most countries that are poorer, like third world countries or whatnot, meat is a luxury there, so they mainly eat vegetarian and vegan diets. And really at the heart of vegetarian and vegan diets, when you get past the different alternatives that we're so privileged to have in first world countries, at the heart of it is just grains and veggies and beans and different proteins to sustain you.
Hmm.
So over the years of me being vegetarian and vegan or whatnot, because I've had to do my own grocery shopping, what's it called? When I went, my mom was like, "Okay, girly, if you want to go vegetarian or vegan, I'm not gonna deal with the different intricacies because I'm shopping for a family of four. So you're going to have to do your own
Do your
shopping,
own.
and I'll shop for
Mhm.
three, and you could shop for you." And I'm like, "That's fine." So I had to grow. What's it called? That just contributes to my self sufficiency. But that usually I would say that for one person, I'm trying to break it down because my shopping habits have changed obviously in the course of 7 years. So
Okay.
I would say the range for my grocery bill, what's it called, for one person for like about 2 weeks, because I go shopping for, at first I went shopping like every week, but now I go shopping for about 2 weeks at a time or
Mhm.
whatnot. Um, so I go shopping twice a month, I would say. So I would say my grocery bill is anywhere from like $50 to $100, and I think that's pretty good because the average like grocery bill for a family of four is like $300, and it's something. But I, of course, and that's with all the bells and whistles too. That's with the different vegan dairy products, the vegan cheeses and ice creams and this and that and the third. But it can be a lot cheaper than that as well. Because I remember when I first went vegan, I was just like, okay, let's dig into the whole grains, this, that, and the third or whatnot. That was around like $30 to like $45. So I would actually say that it's cheaper to go vegetarian and vegan rather than it is to be a meat eater.
Okay.
Even with the subsidies that you get for different products, it's still like, I think a slice of meat or whatnot is still like $7, $8, $9. So yeah, I would say overall
Mhm.
it's cheaper in my experience, and it all depends
So,
on where you live
GQ
and
has a
where you shop
question.
too.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. GQ has a question. He says, when it comes to almond milk, is there any health benefits in drinking one or the other when it comes to choosing between sweetened and unsweetened? For me personally, I prefer the sweetened one. I can't stand the unsweetened. Like the
Mm-mm.
taste of it, it just does not resonate with me. And it's been a while since I've been drinking almond milk. But I'll let you answer also.
No, there's not really any like health difference, I would say. Like it's just really a taste preference. Do you want unsweetened? Do you want sweetened? And then the different levels of sweetened as well, like 60, 80, the calories go up from there or whatnot. But I would say that my go-to almond milk is the HEB almond milk that they have. That's the original almond milk, and it's 60 calories. It's my favorite almond milk in the world. I've tried lots of different almond milks, lots of different non-dairy milks. Um, I'm a connoisseur, but that is my tried and true almond milk. So,
Hmm.
um, so I think you said something else about I'm thinking. Oh, and
Well,
also what's it called? I think just the difference to say between like dairy milks and non-dairy milks have more calcium in it than dairy milks, and I think that's a common thing that people don't know, because the dairy industry tries not to promote that, of course, because
hmm.
the whole big thing behind dairy is calcium, calcium, calcium. If you don't drink dairy milk, then where are you going to get your calcium, when calcium is found in lots of different fruits and vegetables, and in almond milks and other non-dairy milks as well. So it has almond milks have 40% more calcium than non-dairy milks do. So
Awesome.
that's just a
Awesome.
little fun fact.
And DC is highlighting on high fructose corn syrup. I remember I talked about that on my YouTube channel as well, saying that I had to refrain from anything sugary pretty much
Mm-hmm.
because those things contributed to stimulate the growth of tumors. And I
Right.
had to stop that. Just growing up,
Mm-hmm.
I used to eat pancakes a lot, because my grandmother
Mm-hmm.
was always making pancakes every weekend, pancakes,
Mm-hmm.
pancakes. And that maple syrup, it was just a killer.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had no
The
idea,
the
but I
Annie's
mean,
one with the high
yeah, we
fructose
all
corn syrup.
enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it, but at the
Uh-huh.
same time, by the time I was like a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
then I was starting having issues. Those things
Yeah, it's
I don't
scary.
digest them well. So I don't remember the last time I even had pancakes to even do that. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it called? I answered him when we were talking about reading food labels, food label literacy, and like how I check for to make sure products don't have high fructose corn syrup in there, or any dyes, or any aspartame or whatnot. So, yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned aspartame. I want you to highlight on that because I don't know. Do you eat gum? Do you chew on
No, I
gum?
don't chew gum because most gums
Mm-hmm.
aren't vegan to begin with. Of course, they're vegans, but I
Okay.
just never chew gum. I'm not a gum chewer. I'm a mint person.
Okay.
So if I feel like, what's it called? My breath stinks in public, I'll just pop a mint. But I'm not a gum chewer. So, aspartame is in, like, a lot of people don't know that, like, aspartame is in diet soda, and diet soda is actually more unhealthy for you than regular soda
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
aspartame and even like sweet low and what is it? My mom used to have it all the time because she's a diabetic. What is it? What is the other? There's Sweet and Low. There's Splenda. Splenda. They have aspartame in it, and that's more unhealthier than regular sugar because aspartame, because sugar is just from sugar cane, right? But aspartame is an artificially made sugar. So what you're doing is you're congesting something that was not like that's just like when we talk about GMOs and like cropping now and the farming industry or whatnot, you really shouldn't ingest anything that's made in a lab. And that's what aspartame and high fructose corn syrup and a lot of different dyes and products that are in a lot of foods that we enjoy are in. So it's really scary when you think about it. So you're better off if you, what's it called, want the sugar and any products or not, just having the regular product than you are trying to find, um, what's it called,
The diet
traditional
one.
diet ones or whatnot. There are better alternatives than that as well, but just like diet versus regular, if that's the argument, regular over diet. But they don't.
Absolutely. And
What's
the
it
thing
called?
about it, a lot of people do not know that aspartame also messes you up psychologically as well as you consume it more. The more you
Mm-hmm.
consume it, it contributes to messing you up psychologically. Like, and even like your muscle reflex and all that stuff. I mean, aspartame could
It's
do some
scary.
major destruction if you
Yeah,
consume too much of it. And when do you know that you're consuming too much of it, you know?
you can.
I mean, think about it. Some people they have like maybe a Diet Coke every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think
That's
so. If
scary.
they're having a Diet Coke every day, it's a regular habit. After a while, you're not gonna feel all that great. And some people really think that having that like part of their diet is better
Mm-hmm.
for them. It really isn't. It
No,
really isn't.
it's worse, sadly. More
GQ has an
questions?
interesting comment here because he says because he likes vanilla almond milk, but I sometimes get the feeling that I'm cheating thinking the sweetened almond milk isn't as healthy as the unsweetened one.
No, I think we addressed that the difference between
Hmm.
unsweetened and sweetened. That what's it called? There's no one that's better for you. You're already better off. What's it called? Drinking non-dairy milks than you are regular milks because of all the health problems connected to dairy milks. So when it comes to the difference between unsweetened and sweetened, that's just preference. So you drink whatever you want, whatever tastes good to you. They all
Welcome
have the
aboard,
same calcium and health benefits in it across the board.
aboard, right?
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, Javon. And now GQ is asking, is honey a healthier alternative than syrup? Technically, it is.
Yeah, technically it is. It depends what type of syrup you're talking. If you're just talking about like the traditional like ones that we had growing up, the Aunt
Corn syrup?
Jemima's syrup or whatnot, then
Yeah.
yeah. But like some just healthy alternatives to that syrup in general would just be regular makeup maple syrup and then like agave nectar. I used to use agave nectar on my pancakes all the time. It's a little pricey, but it's good. I like it. What else? Third one. There's
Agave
this
is
coconut
awesome.
nectar too. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of different like healthier alternatives to like regular syrups that are out there. So those are just three, but I'm sure if you look into it you'll find more. But I personally like agave nectar and maple syrup, but you could use honey too.
Okay.
But
Someone was asking, do you know that is there an alternative to dairy chocolates?
yes, there are what's it called
Like
traditionally
yeah,
I
dairy
found like
chocolate milk?
huh?
Dairy chocolate milk? Like
He's
an
talking about
alternative
chocolate
to,
milk or just chocolate in general? Because
well,
chocolate.
chocolate and then chocolate milk, both of them.
Okay, so chocolate in its natural state is vegan, because it comes from the cacao plant, but then when they manufacture it, they add in the dairy products or whatnot. So it's just crazy the way that the food industry alters the original flavor of things. But in most grocery stores, like semi-sweet chocolate or dark chocolate would be vegetarian or vegan, and are better for you than just regular ones. But then if you really want to deep dive into it, there are like other brands that make healthier chocolates. So I would look into that I've tried before,
Mm-hmm.
and they're good. I've seen some at HEB, but I think they're mainly at Whole Foods or Sprouts if y'all have one near you. So yeah. And then for
Mm-hmm.
chocolate milk, the same brand that I like, the HEB chocolate milk and Silk almond milk and lots of other milk, like non-dairy milk brands, they have chocolate milks as well. I've tried their soy milks before, their soy chocolate milks, their almond milk chocolate milks, even their coconut chocolate milks. They're really good. I prefer the HEB one that's just, I think it just says like dark chocolate milk, better than just regular chocolate milk, what I remember regular chocolate milk to taste like or whatnot, but that's really good and it's healthier for you.
And we have comments in here saying that tilapia is basically lab made. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sadly.
unfortunately. Michael in the middle is saying that, yeah, I read about that with the argument about regular soda versus diet soda. And diet soda can be really damaging, especially with the way it is advertised. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's really scary because they don't want you to know the truth, of course, because they want to continue to profit off of misinformation. So
Mhm.
that's
And that's
that
why it's
there.
essential for each person to take their own personal responsibility, become
Totally.
accountable to learn how to read nutrition fact labels because
Mm-hmm.
those
Exactly.
food
That's not something
labels
they teach you
tell
in
you,
school. They don't teach us food
yeah,
label literacy.
they
So,
don't, they don't. And that is something that we all need to get into, especially people who are getting into these weight loss diet type of journeys and everything.
mm-hmm.
Before you get on board with that,
So
make
scary.
sure you are sound with being able to interpret a food label,
Mm-hmm.
because you could get yourself into so much trouble with
Mm-hmm.
your
Just because it
with
has
your
all these
body.
buzzwords, keto, Atkins, this, and third, doesn't mean it's healthy for you. Doesn't mean it works for you either. So it's all about biochemical individuality, and I feel like
Hmm.
that's something that people don't know. Like they don't take enough time to be in tune with themselves and what works for them and what food products work best for them, what
Absolutely.
times of eating works best with them, different things like that. So you can get in trouble there if you don't if you base your diet off of other people's diets and what they tell you to do. Because
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
totally.
nobody knows your body better than you. So some health
Absolutely.
guru could tell you eat 10 pounds of egg and then you feel sick and you're like, I shouldn't be eating that, but that's what the diet plan says, and then you vomit and you're like, I don't think my body likes that. But
Yeah,
that's what happens when you don't listen to your body. So when you get responses from your body, you should listen to them when you eat different foods and adjust from there.
absolutely. So I want to cross over now into the influencer world, that where you're
Sure.
making major impact
Mm-hmm.
from YouTube, Rizzle, and Instagram. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that. How is it going for you? Because you're consistent. I
Mm-hmm.
be watching you. You're consistent
Thank you.
with your videos, and I would say all of the places so far and stuff. And how has that journey been? And when did you actually start on your influencer journey?
I would say that it's going pretty good. I started on my influencer journey, like 2 years ago, I would say, or like a year and a half ago, like September of 2019. I'd like to say
Mhm.
is the earliest I like remember trying to what's it called? That was like my senior year of high school. I remember what's it called being like, okay, I want to do this, so let's find out what content I want to post, what times I want to post at, what's going on in my niche, and different things like that. So that's when I started making content or whatnot, but it wasn't as consistent as I wanted it to be because, of course, I was in high school. So time freedom is in the air, whatnot. So it wasn't really until I got out of high school, I would say. That's why I like to say like a year and a half to 2 years ago, because I wasn't really able to start where I wanted to start until like 2020. So yeah, I would say 2020 is when I really like hit the ground running, because before then I was just posting here and there. So, and I
Hmm.
really didn't know what I was posting or what I was trying to do with my account or what my message was. So, I would say from 2020 on, I've really been trying to perfect that.
Awesome. So I'm glad that you mentioned two important factors that I always talk about on the show for
Okay.
everyone. And just to
Yes.
let everybody know, like the Martine show is all about self-awareness, self-development, and everything social. So everything that we're talking about here is straight on point. And I'm so glad. Now you mentioned niche, right?
hmm
What is your niche on social media?
Fashion, lifestyle, and beauty.
Okay. And
That's
your
what you said.
messages are all around fashion, lifestyle, and beauty consistently on all of your social media.
Yeah. And then what's it called? When I feel it's important to talk about certain social justice issues that's out of niche content, we would call it or whatnot, but that's important to talk about. So I make exceptions to talk about it, even though that's not traditionally what I talk about on my page or whatnot,
Right. No,
because
but
it's
you bring
important.
awareness to
Yeah,
what's
it's
important
important
to
to bring
you.
awareness. Because if you have a
Absolutely.
platform, it's important to use your platform, regardless of how big or how small, because someone's listening. So,
Absolutely. You have a lot of followers. You have a lot of people who are in tune with what you're saying. And the thing about it, you are an influencer. That's what I tell people. You have a social media account, already prone yourself to be in that
hmm
social influencer type of, mindset because that's what you are, whether you
hmm
consider it or not. I mean, somebody is following you. you
hmm
know, and people are listening to what you have to say. So just let's do it right. you
Yeah,
know, we got to do it right. So,
absolutely.
so you also represent brands here and there. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
And I never align myself with any brands that I don't truly believe in and that I don't truly support, and I don't feel like their products truly work for me or whatnot. And I've seen that that's a common error that a lot of different people do in the influencer space. They just promote products for money or for clout or just for whatever, but they don't truly like the product. And then when their followers receive the products, they go buy it because, of course, they love them, and you build affinity and trust with your audience. So when you promote something, your audience expects you to have thoroughly tried it and expects it to work, because if not, why are you wasting their time by talking about it? And sometimes when people, their followers, get the products that they promote, they don't work, or the services aren't what they expected, or even worse, on the even darker end of that, they're scamming them. So
Hmm.
um, it's important to thoroughly check um, what you're getting into and what you're sent and whatnot, and not ever do anything that doesn't align with your brand as well. That's another thing. That's so like there's two things. It's twofold. So A, sometimes influencers promote products that they don't truly love, they don't truly care about, they didn't really test, which is one issue. But then, um, or for money, blah blah blah. But deeper than that is that they promote products that oh, I just had it. Where is it going?
Take your time. Go ahead, girl. This is your time.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's so intricate. Trying to explain it.
But I do get what you're saying, and I do want to congratulate you for actually always taking a stand in what you believe in, and not
Right.
just like showing up as an influencer to just
hmm
like promote a brand because you know you're probably going to make commission or your
hmm
part of
Uh-huh.
on it, and
Right.
that's really important. You're not
Oh,
just
I remember what I
flashing
was
a
saying.
product to
I'm sorry.
people. Go ahead,
Okay.
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
girl.
What's it called? With me, if like I think of something, I'm gonna lose it again. But um, also another like a something that influencers don't really understand, which is like number one is like their niche, and you're supposed to promote products that align with your niche. So sometimes I'll
Yes.
see like lifestyle influencers promoting dog products or fashion products or this or that, and I'm like, that's not your niche. You talk about health and wellness. Why don't you promote
Exactly.
vitamins, or why don't you promote certain foods or certain grocery stores or different things like that? Like, people don't really, what's it called? Sometimes stay in their niche, which is also another issue, which is not as bad as like the other issue of like just promoting things for money or clout or this, that, and the third. But it is important because you're not going to grow like that because your followers don't know what your message is. Your followers don't know why this matters to them, and it's important to establish yourself as an authority in whatever niche that you're in. So as an authority, you can only speak on what you do in your niche, and they're only going to believe on what you speak on, what you do in your niche. But if you're a fashion influencer trying to promote a gym, it's not going to click. They're going to be like, why are you promoting a gym when you're a
Mhm.
fashion influencer? It doesn't make sense. You're going to lose credibility that way. So it's important to promote products that you care about and stay in your niche. The
I'm so
twofold.
happy that you just highlighted all of this, because this is things that I normally talk about every now and then on each interview. We go into it, and you just took it away. So thank you so much for being with us today and
You're
really like
welcome.
nailing it, because this is perfect for everybody who needs to hear this. I mean, as an
Right.
influencer, you really have to buckle down and know exactly what your message is. And I
Mm-hmm.
say it all the time. Why?
Right.
Why should people follow you? What message are you giving people?
Mm-hmm.
And always know, if you want to be an influencer, why did you start? What was the
Right.
point when you
People lose
started?
that. Mm-hmm.
You always have to know your why,
Mm-hmm.
because the thing about it, that's what's going to drive you, and that's what's going
Right.
to have you create more and more content and be consistent with your message consistently. You know,
Right.
I mean, you said it so perfectly. I don't even know what else to say.
And it's also important feedback. I feel like people don't understand from an audience perspective because, of course, you were always once an audience member, you were always once a consumer. I try to go by a rule like if I look at something, a picture, um, a video, whatever piece of content it is, and I don't like it and I wouldn't want to watch it, I won't post it. Like if I post this and if I'm what's it called? If I think would somebody like would my target audience like this and the answer is no, or as me as a target, like if my favorite influencer or my favorite creator posted this, would I like it? Would I comment on it? Would I save it? Would this be valuable to my like what is the value behind this piece of content? If I can't find it, then I'm not going to post it. And I feel like that's lacking with some influencers because they just post anything just to post, because of course consistency is important, but it should always be quality over quantity and not quantity over quality. You shouldn't just be posting for posting's sake to keep up with the algorithm or to keep up with your followers, this, that, and the third. You need to make sure that every piece of content has a message, has value, is doing what you need it to do. And if it's not, you shouldn't post it. So,
At the end of the
just,
day, like I always say, everything has to make sense.
mm-hmm,
You have a specific message, you know your why,
mm-hmm,
you know what your niche is, okay?
mm-hmm,
Stick to it, and
mm-hmm,
everything you do around that pretty much has to make sense. And everything has to be like a building block to your niche.
right,
If it's not a building block to your niche, it's not contributing to what you're discussing, it's not going to improve, let's say, lifestyle, beauty, and fashion, because that's your niche,
mm-hmm,
then therefore there's no point of you even pointing it out to people, because
no,
your audience is not prone to that. I mean,
no.
well,
And they're
there
going
are
to be
some
receptive
people,
to it.
exactly. There are some people who actually basically they have social media accounts, and
Mm-hmm,
they have issues with their social media accounts because they're saying that people are not responding to them and stuff like that, and they're not getting engagement. But what they don't understand is that when you may be posting consistently, but if you're posting random stuff, the algorithm is
yeah.
confused to begin with. So forget
Mm-hmm.
about who's following you. And if the algorithm is confused to begin with, the algorithm is not going to push your content for people to
No.
see it. And that
They don't know how
happens
to
on
categorize you. They don't know what niche
exactly,
you're in. You don't even know what niche you're
exactly,
in. You're just posting for posting's sake.
exactly. But if you're constantly posting about beauty, fashion, and lifestyle all the time, the
Mm-hmm.
algorithm already recognizes it, because
Mm-hmm.
throughout the months or the years you've been posting
Mm-hmm.
similar content, then
Mm-hmm.
it's wide open for you. But
Right.
if you're posting one day, you're going to post about nothing but food, and then you're going to post about sexual harassment, and then you're going to post about women's health, and then you're going to post about, well, you're walking your dog today and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. Like, where does it all connect? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could post all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's how you're going to connect it.
Mm-hmm.
You could
How
be
does it make
walking
sense
your
on your
dog.
account? on your feed.
Yeah. You could
They
be
don't think
walking
about
your dog, you show that picture or video, but the caption has to make sense and it has to be according to your niche.
that.
You get what
Right.
I'm saying? It
Yeah.
all has to make sense at the end of the day. And this is what people really do not understand. And some people get upset because they're like, oh, you don't like my stuff. And we can't see your stuff, period.
Hmm.
Because you just
Listen.
posting everything under the sun. We don't see
Right.
your stuff. And that's what people don't get.
Absolutely
So
not.
I'm glad you highlighted on that because that's very important. And it's better for somebody else to say it instead of me repeating it like every week saying the same
Right.
thing.
And people
So I
also
wanna
don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was also gonna say that people also don't like think about like beyond just the content. What is your caption saying? What's it called? They don't realize that like some people like just like post quotes or just emojis or this, that, and the third, but they don't think about what's the message behind the content you're posting, which is it all has to make sense and it all has to be pre-planned. And if you don't do any thought into why this content matters, how is it going to add value to your audience's life, how does it fit and how does it work in your page, then naturally your audience is not going to respond to that. Why are they going to, when you scroll through your timeline and they see a picture, what's going to make them stop? If you don't have an engaging caption, why are they going to stop to read your caption? They're not. If you don't have an engaging photograph, why are they going to stop to look at your photo or your video or whatever, or your reel or whatever? They're not. So you have to think beyond just the piece of content. You also have to think about what's it called? Optimizing the content, which is through
Yes.
your
SEO.
captions and your
Mhm.
tags and your hashtags or whatnot. And a lot of people use hashtags that don't relate to the content they're posting, don't relate to their niche, or
Yes.
are too wide. Like, why are you going to use a hashtag that has 100 million posts on it? Like, and you have 10K followers, you're not going to get that reach. Your content's going to get buried at the bottom.
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
have to really think about who you want to see this. What so you when you post, you should be what's it called? Different posts can work for different things. It's kind of confusing, but I would just say in general the rule should be attracting new followers and what's it called? Feeding your current followers. So that works through posting the content that you already like to post and optimizing the captions, optimizing talking to your followers. A lot of people don't respond to comments, DMs,
That's
story
true.
messages, or whatnot, which that doesn't make sense. Why are your followers going to continue to follow you if you never interact with them? They don't know anything about you. It doesn't make any sense. So people have to think beyond that, and that's
Yeah,
what I
and you
try to do. So
and you
yeah.
also have to be rational,
Right.
with your social media. Like
Hmm.
if you were to contact someone on their social media, you would love to receive acknowledgement back.
Hmm.
So if you would love to receive acknowledgement back, then
Hmm.
therefore it is wise for you to acknowledge people who send you messages through your social media.
Hmm.
It's that simple, you know?
Yes. Hmm.
It is so simple.
It really is.
So I want to acknowledge Peter, who's here supporting Darcy. Thank you so much for being on the live. So
Hi, hi, hi.
Sufyan Tiger, and we have a very long comment that I want to read here. Um, Michael in the middle is saying it's so amazing seeing Darcy grow in these past 2 years, especially the content as well. She is continuing to grow, and we love and support it.
Thanks so
Absolutely,
much, Michael. That's my
really
best
nice.
friend. I love him.
Okay, very
Yeah,
nice.
alive.
Very nice. So, and now we're talking about, we've talked about social media, but I want to highlight a little bit on your YouTube.
Hmm.
We talked about basically, you did highlight on optimization, which I
Hmm.
really happy that you talked about that. So let's bring it
Uh-huh.
to the YouTube side when we want to talk about
Okay.
optimization. How are
Hmm.
you doing with that and how is it working for you? Because you definitely, I know that you're making sure that you're optimizing on YouTube.
Yeah, every post that I try to do, I try to optimize it, as well as any of my social medias or whatnot. But on YouTube, I would say that I'm better on Instagram at doing it. I'll admit, on YouTube, I don't post as much as I want to, and that I'd like to, and that's one of my 2021 goals to get better about or whatnot,
Okay.
but I would say that I don't post anything that I don't like on YouTube. I don't post anything that I don't think has value, that's not relevant to my niche. But as far as like the YouTube algorithm goes, hashtags are important as well. Um, what's it called? A lot of people don't read descriptions anymore, which is sad, but yeah, if you have important things you have to put in your description, you just always have to fill your description because you never know who's reading your
Mhm.
description. But the video itself, it's important that it's high quality. It's important that where we talked about it being on brand because it's important that we're talking about what's called in general that what we're talking about is called branding, and if you
Mhm.
don't stick to your brand then you don't have a brand. So it's important to what's it called, what are your brand pillars, what do you stand for, what do you what's it called, trying to share, who is your target audience, who is going to benefit from this content. So I try to do that through every piece of content that I create. CCing, people don't know this a lot, but actually like integrating the YouTube algorithm works how like the more that you let YouTube know what your video is the better they're going to be able to place you and rank you on the search results. And if
Absolutely.
you, like I said, so hashtags matter. Your descriptions still matter because you can hide keywords in your description. Like you'll be like, hey guys, today this is a what's it called? Let's say it's a winter lookbook. Today this is a winter lookbook, and in this winter lookbook, I'm going to be showing you the current winter trends, blah, blah, like you try to like make it make sense, like the paragraphs
Mhm.
that you do, but you also need to like what's it called, add in keywords so when YouTube is ranking this video, they know where to put it so you can get more viewers on your video. So you'll be at the higher what's it called? You'll be higher on the search results. So CEO is really important, and that's what we're talking about. And I was talking about CCing your videos, like you see, like with the different um like if you're watching like a video, like it's mainly used for people who are doing ASMR videos or people that are have audiences that are in different regions, like say that you are a Korean YouTuber and you have an audience in America though, so you try to cater to both audiences by like you speak in Korean and then you'd CC your videos in English. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't worry about CCs, but it's important because the more that you integrate your content, the better that YouTube is able to recognize your content and rank it, like we talked about. So you should try to like add keywords into the CCs so you better be able to rank.
So you're
That's what I
talking
was
about the
trying to get.
subtitles. The
Subtitles,
subtitles.
yes.
Yeah,
Subtitles.
subtitles is important.
Um,
Some people don't put that feature on, you know,
no.
and once you put it on, YouTube actually creates it for you. It's
Yeah.
auto generated. You know, they
Yeah.
auto generate the caption based on what is being said on the video.
Right.
You know, so based on the words that's being said on the video. You talked about SEO, part of the description. The description is a big part of the SEO,
Right.
um, because the more you have written down based on explaining what your video is all about, then YouTube is actually going to know what your video is
Right.
and pretty much rank it as high as they possibly can
Mm-hmm.
and direct it to the correct audience for that
Mm-hmm.
niche, you
Right.
know. So all that is important. Um, and whatever the topic is, like your titles are important and
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's also a good
your
talk about.
yeah, you need to have, and the good
But
thing
yeah.
about YouTube is to be able to have either titles or um in your description to
Mm-hmm.
include suggested tags. Because you know YouTube
Yes.
will give you suggested tags. Now, if you
Right.
utilize based on what they see the video is,
Mm-hmm.
use those tags regularly. But if you include those tags in the description,
Mm-hmm.
that ranks up your video as well.
Right. I also
You
like to
know?
use like TubeBuddy to like browse on other people in my what's it called, niches videos, or if
So
you're
you can
doing like
see
a
what they
similar
have behind
video.
the
Yeah.
scenes. I do that
Yeah.
too. I use TubeBuddy. And
Yeah, it's
TubeBuddy is
great.
very simple. It's awesome. It's straightforward. I with TubeBuddy, I learned everything about my analytics,
Mm-hmm.
how to
Very
really
important.
interpret it, to know
Mm-hmm.
exactly who's following me. I mean, most of my people who following me are foreigners. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
that many United States people.
Oh
My
wow,
number one crowd of people is from Turkey, that I
that's
have
interesting.
Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
And then
know
again,
that's cool.
all of my people who really follow me are
International.
international. Yeah. And of course my channel is women's health, so it's 98% women, about like maybe 1.2% men and stuff. But it's just really like TubeBuddy really helps a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people to check it out. You
Yeah,
might as well. It's worthwhile. It's a good tool to have.
it's
There's also
great.
vidIQ that you can use, but I don't utilize vidIQ. But I'm very friendly with TubeBuddy, and
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And the beauty about it is that you could actually make it to a point based on the suggestions that they give you. You could
Mm-hmm.
rank your video with the SEO at 100%, like
That's crazy.
literally.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
I didn't know
if
that
it's if
much. That's
yeah,
cool.
you could bring it up to 100%. I've done it. And you could also, if not, you could bring it to the highest 90s, but they give you suggestions. And another thing is the thumbnails. I
Yes.
mean, you got to have
Mm-hmm.
a
A
clickable
good.
thumbnail, something that's going to attract people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% great on that. I'm still learning, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but I've gotten better, I
Right.
must say. And I'm happy about that. And
Good.
when you do put all these things together, like TubeBuddy will let you know that YouTube actually likes that, and they'll show you
Mm-hmm.
where your video is ranking based on the SEO, the thumbnail, all that is examined in
Right.
it. And have at least a wording in your thumbnail that signifies what your video is all about. That's important as well, because that ranks
Right.
it as well, you know. So that's pretty good.
It's
I'm
important.
so proud of you. Oh my goodness. It's like you
Thank
took over
you.
the show.
Another thing that tool that I use to like integrate, because you want to integrate your videos as much as possible, is YouTube, is Google Trends. And like on Google Trends, like you can look up like the hashtags that not only are trending on YouTube, but are trending on Google search engine as well. And when you, what's it called, look at those and you put those in your videos, you're more likely to be searchable within the title, like the what you're trying to rank for, and also
Hmm.
recommended. Your videos will start being recommended
Yes.
on the sideline of other similar videos and to new users as well. So that's something to consider as well.
Awesome, Marcy. So what she is explaining, I'm gonna like go a little bit further into it because I do talk about that, but I love the way you put it out. So um what she's explaining, TubeBuddy does help a lot of people with that as well. They will tell you basically what is your top external search source, And like for
Right.
me, when I look at my analytics, my top external search source is Google search. And the reason
Right.
why is because my titles, my
Mm-hmm.
titles to my videos are specific to what I find on Google when I do a Google search. And I use that
Right.
exact title. So which
Oh wow.
means that when somebody types in, something related to fibroids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, when they type in like how to whatever it is related to fibroids, that exact title that they're typing, which is what Google is saying, that's what people are looking for, is exactly what my title is on YouTube. So automatically my video is going to come up, or my page is going to come up, for
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. So those are things, those are tricks. Those are, some people call them like they're ways to hack, but it's the best way to utilize your skills and also utilize YouTube, because people do not understand that Google and YouTube are parallel. They
Yes.
communicate with each other. They're
Mm-hmm.
best friends, they're partners. And
Uh-huh.
what Google says, YouTube agrees. So if
Right.
you actually do your research and look on Google to see exactly what are the questions being asked, what are people asking for based on your niche, your topic, then you use those exact titles that you find based on those questions, and you go and you do a video on it. Well, you're good for money, because you know what?
Mm-hmm.
People are going to continue searching for it because there's a high
Mm-hmm.
percentage of that. That's why it's being recommended. And your video is always going to be not only at the top rank, but you're going to
Right.
be in the suggested area and also the recommended area for YouTube. which is
Right.
awesome. So that's what people want, and that's how you do YouTube. That's how it actually works. And the other thing is consistency. You don't only do it one time. You got to keep doing
Mm-hmm.
it, because the
Right.
more you gotta leverage
And
on.
analyze your analytics when you do different strategies so you can see what's working and what's not. And it's
Absolutely.
something people don't
And
do as well.
utilizing this strategy that I told you is one of the ways that you actually could rank your video to 100% SEO. Just do what Google says. Exactly what Google says. You do that. And when you do that, TubeBuddy will give you exactly the tags necessary based on that title that you got from Google, because they already recognize it. They already know. And they're going to tell you, this is what you add, this is what you add, and this is what you do. And you just do exactly what it says, and then you'll be all right. So GQ is saying, I'm in a rebuilding process when it comes to optimization. There's so much that I'm learning now, and I didn't know previously that I'm slowly working on applying now. And he says, I'm learning a lot from Martine now. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
And
We're being helpful.
welcome aboard, Rita Hogs. Is TubeBuddy
Hi,
better than
hi.
vidIQ? I really don't know if TubeBuddy is better than vidIQ. I
I've
just
never
happen
tried
to be.
vidIQ.
It is?
I
You
know I said
say?
I've never tried vidIQ, so I don't know. I just
I
use
don't
TubeBuddy.
know, to tell you the truth. I know a lot of people use both simultaneously. I just use
Mm-hmm.
TubeBuddy because I I don't know, the image was just so friendly to me, and I got
Mm-hmm.
accustomed to it, and then I finally knew how to work it, so I
Mm-hmm.
stayed with it, and I'm getting all of my response from there. But
Right.
they both work. Having both of them is essential, I suppose, because
And trying
there are a
Google
lot.
Trends, I would
Yeah,
say.
there are a lot of high end YouTubers who have both, but I just use TubeBuddy for now. Peter is saying, always learning something new, watching other influencers. Absolutely.
Yes, always. It's important to study your competitors and people in your niche so you can not only keep up with the trends or what's it called, what's popular, but and like what people in what's it called, y'all have similar audiences, right? So what your ultimate audience wants to see, and also so you can, like I said, spy on their hashtags a little bit, spy on different things, see if like what's it called, if you see something cool that they do, you're like, maybe I should do it. Like never copy someone, copy paste or whatnot, but you should
Yeah.
always try to see what's popular, see what's unique, and see how you can make it better and how you can make it work for you and your audience. I would say if you see something that you like, make it personalized to you.
Hmm.
That's something that I find that works, and that will help you when attracting your target audience, because they'll see something, they'll be like, oh, this person did this trend, but then Darcy tried this technique on the trend or whatnot, and it's cool or whatnot, and maybe it'll become a trend on its own or whatnot because of the way that you switched it. So I
Hmm.
would say do that.
Right.
That's
And another
important
thing that I
to
want to
study.
highlight also, it's great to always follow and see what other influencers are doing, like the ones that are consistent and really, like,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell the ones are putting a lot of work
At the
into
top
a
of
lot
your
of effort
niche.
into stuff. But at the same time, sometimes it depends. You could be in a niche where
Mm-hmm.
um it's not that how do I say, that niche, it's like specific to the point where it's not popular, you
Right.
know, and most people are not into it. The thing to
Mm-hmm.
do that I've learned, because my niche is basically like that. I'm in women's health. I promote women, so it's women empowerment. But then at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I'm specific to the condition that I suffered from, which is fibroids, uterine fibroids. So I talk about that.
Right.
I'm pretty much like one of the only influencers that really promotes it, because other people who are promoting it like that are doctors and nurses who work
Mm-hmm.
in the field, who put it out for
Right.
awareness.
Right.
So with me, with my
It's
niche, what
different.
I got to do is be consistent, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to end up dominating it. And then what's going to happen is
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to have so many videos out there
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to be the one to be recommended anyway,
Uh-huh.
besides the doctors and the other healthcare practitioners that are going to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So might as well just keep at it, keep doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
some videos blow up, some don't, but it doesn't matter. Just keep
Mm-hmm.
consistent and making sure that like I say, the titles and stuff are Google ready for
Mm-hmm.
Google search.
Right.
And that's it. Because
And
lo
you're
and
serving
behold,
your audience
yeah.
and trying new strategies and seeing through analytics, what's it called, what's
hmm
working, what's not,
Yeah.
what
Your
hashtags are
analytics
linked and
tells
which
you
didn't.
everything. Your analytics tells you everything to the T.
Yes.
It even tells you the age group of the population that
Mm-hmm.
that watches your videos.
Right.
You know, where they're located and stuff. I mean, it will tell you everything. It'll tell you like the percentage of people that are watching your videos if you share them on Facebook, if you share them on Twitter, whatever, you
Yeah,
know?
social cues are also important too for promoting, like what's it called, whenever you have, let's say, it depends on what your main platform is, but let's say if your main platform is YouTube or whatnot, you should of course be promoting your YouTube on all of your other social medias, so all of your audiences on there can go over to your YouTube and check out
hmm
your new video and check out your channel and like your stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
mean, that's
important.
definitely a good thing.
That's what I do.
But one thing I've noticed also through sharing is that since the algorithm with YouTube is consistently changing, it's always
Yes.
changing.
All the time.
And what happens now is that that's why this is the reason why they don't want sub for sub is
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of people who may follow you, but they're not watching your videos.
Yeah.
And what happens
Low
in due
engagement.
time is that what happens in due time, YouTube will actually evaluate the channel. And if they see that there's no activity from this viewer, they'll basically knock that viewer off or,
Remove them.
like it's a fake account. So you may
Yeah.
go to to your account on YouTube and maybe you have like 500
Mhm.
subs, right? And then
Mhm.
next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm at 479. What happened? Well,
Mhm.
whoever got knocked off was
They're
not good for you
inactivated.
anyway, because there's some people
No.
who got upset about that and,
That's
they go to
important.
people. Yeah.
Same
So
for
whoever,
Instagram too. Like if you have ghost followers, it's important also to go through your following list or whatnot. And if you see anybody that either doesn't have a profile pic, they haven't posted within the last year, they have numbers in their what's it called, username,
yeah,
or they don't have like a bio or whatnot, then most likely they are a ghost follower, so you should
yeah,
remove them because that
yeah,
actually lowers your engagement to have ghost followers than what's it called? It's better to have less followers that engage with you than more followers that don't engage with you because that'll end up hurting your
absolutely.
account in the long run. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Oh my God. I'm so loving this conversation.
same. So I try to go
We
through
have,
every week. I'm sorry.
yeah, we do. We have Goddess in Training Coaching is here. Welcome
Hi,
aboard.
hi.
And Expression Closet. Welcome
Hi.
aboard. Oh my goodness, this is such a flourishing conversation, and these are things as influencers, these are the responsibilities that we do take wanting to be influencers without realizing these
hmm
are the steps to become a
Responsibility.
real full-fledged influencer. Like you got to
hmm
be accountable to that point,
Yeah, people like
and
what's it called don't understand like the commitment and the work and the time and the energy it takes into actually being an influencer, and they don't understand that it's more than just taking pictures or making videos or whatnot. Like it's math, like it's science, like you have to research it, you have to understand the way different algorithms work, you have to understand the way your content's pushed, you have to understand what's going to be best or whatnot. So there's a lot more work that goes into being an influencer than just the content creation in and of itself.
hmm And another thing is that a lot of people need to understand the difference between platforms and what those platforms are made for. Each
Mm-hmm.
platform is different. I mean, we have some platforms that are strictly traffic generation, like Rizzle is a traffic generation platform. TikTok is a
Right.
traffic generation platform, which
Right.
means you go on these particular platforms basically for you to gain visibility. Okay.
Right.
For you to put your links there, let people know what you do. Your message has to be crispy clean to the
Mm-hmm.
point. So like that, you could help people cross over to your main platforms, which is maybe
Right.
YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But you also have to be active and have your message sounding clear on those other
Right.
platforms so that when those people actually do cross over, they could remain with you. And that's the whole
Right.
point, you know. So there's sometimes people do not understand, like they get on let's say TikTok, Rizzle, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to remain there, like it's my primary platform. You really can't, because those platforms seldomly don't always last, number one,
No,
because it's
very fickle.
strictly traffic generation. That's the reason why the numbers blow up,
Mm-hmm.
and people do think that
Quick growth.
they, they blow up, but that at the same time, it's like you do have real followers, you do have people really watching everything that you're doing, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
know what to do with them from that platform and where
Mm-hmm.
you're going to
There's not
bring
much you
them
can do
to.
to them if you don't convert. So
Exactly. The
it's the
conversion rate
importance.
has to be high to a point,
Mm-hmm.
or it has to be to a point where people are looking towards like emerging and following you in other places, you know.
Right.
And it has to be worthwhile for the people to want to follow you in other places. That's why your message,
Right.
you have to be able to deliver everywhere, if
Right.
that's the
You have to
case.
create high quality content across the board because if you say, go check out my Instagram, go check out my YouTube or whatnot, and it's lower quality than your Rizzle, they're going to be like, why am I here? I'm just going to go back to your Rizzle. Like, or if you, a
Exactly.
lot of things, I feel like a lot of people on Rizzle, now that we're talking about it, don't know or whatnot, is that like niching down matters across the board. Like, not saying that you can't ever like not create any different content anywhere else ever, but for the most part, the content that you create on Rizzle should be the same content that you create on Instagram, on YouTube, on this or that. Because if you create like only, let's say you only do dancing videos on Rizzle or whatnot, but then you, what's it called, talk about health and fitness on your Instagram, or you talk about health and fitness on your YouTube or this stuff, they're going to be like, so what am I following you for? What do you do? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
It becomes
So for the
confusing.
majority, you should be trying to, what's it called, have the content be consistent across all platforms.
That
I
makes
would
a lot of
say.
sense. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And that is something that basically, if you were to pay a coach, that's what
Mhm.
they're going to highlight on. They're going to go note for
Mhm.
note at everything that we discuss in this live,
Mhm.
and they're going to tell you the same exact thing, and you're going to pay
Mhm.
them like $1,000.
Uh-huh. And here's a free coaching session.
Exactly. But this is exactly what they're going to tell you, And I'm glad that we're able to at least bring the awareness to people on the live so that they can have an idea how to go about, with things, because a lot of people are confused. A lot of people want to make it on social media, which is cool, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's hard work. It really
Mhm.
is.
They don't understand. It's not, what's it called? It's a hobby. It's not something you can just do. Well, I mean, it can be a
No.
hobby or not, but it's not something that you can just post a picture and then go away and expect it to blow up or not, or post a video and go away and expect it to blow up or not.
Yeah.
You have to consistently be researching what's in your niche. You have to be consistently researching what's popular, what hashtags are going to work best for you, what content you should create next, and what message you want to send through the content that you create. And once all
Mm.
those are in line, it's going to work for optimum optimization. But if you just think you can just create whatever and put it on social media and people are just supposed to care when you have no message, you're
Yeah.
you're wrong.
And
Sadly, so.
I would also suggest that you follow people. Well, that's why you need to know your purpose. You have to know your niche. Because
Yeah,
when you do finally have your niche together, then you need to follow people who are
in
in
your
your niche,
niche. Mm-hmm.
so that you
See
have
what they do.
a clean idea and you're feeding your brain exactly
Mm-hmm.
what you need to know for you to perform for your
Mm-hmm.
platform.
Right.
You're getting ideas and stuff, and you're being
The
able
level,
to
and maybe
see.
when you see different things, you might be like, maybe I'm a little out of my league here. Maybe I should do something else. And then you can switch your content or not, but you can't be blissfully ignorant where you think whatever it is that you're creating is going to be the best ever. It's going to be great. And people are just supposed to care or whatnot when there are millions and millions of other influencers online. What is your purpose? What is the message? What is the value behind the content you are creating? Is it the best that you can create? That is something that I don't feel like a lot of people are asking themselves, and they're not evaluating the different types of, and how competitive niches are as well. Like, there are like top niches that are very competitive, and if you go into them, you'll have to know that you really have to bring your A game, and you really have to follow the top people and see what they do and really try to like emulate what they have going on if you really want to be at the top of that niche as well with them eventually. So
Yeah.
you have to do the research. Like we said, it's all um strategizing and researching and
Mhm.
seeing what's going to work for you.
Right.
Market
And
research.
absolutely, absolutely. It's social media branding and market research that you have to do
Yes.
for sure. Like, if you don't do it, you're going to have to end up doing it in order for you to become serious with social media, whether you like it
Mm-hmm.
or not. That's just the way to go.
That's just
It's
how it
no
is.
other formula, you know. And another thing that's very important that I want to highlight on, there are some people who get on social media, they don't decide what their purpose is, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
no need. They're just
Mm-hmm.
posting. And then when they finally realize or have some type of inkling as to what their purpose is, then it's like they don't see them moving anywhere, because sometimes the niche that they're in or they thought they were in is really not the niche for them. Like, they're not passionate
Mm-hmm.
about it. So
Right.
they're not lasting in terms of having consistency, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's
it's
not going to be
hard for them.
sustainable.
Exactly. So
And
that's another
also
thing.
your followers from that other niche that you were doing or whatnot for however long, like if it's a newer account, like you just started doing it 3 months around, it's not going to matter. But if you've been doing this for like a year of, let's say you're posting fashion content or whatnot, and you realize that the niche is too competitive, you can't really keep up with what the other fashion bloggers are doing, whatever it is, and you decide to transition niches, you have to be ready for the drop off. You have to be ready for the possibility that those followers that originally followed you for fashion content won't really be interested in your niche switch. They won't be interested in, now let's say you do lifestyle content, they're not going to be interested in wellness, they're not going to be interested in different vitamins, different health plans, different what's it called, workouts, whatever it is that you're now doing. So um, it's very important to remember that social media is about connecting and not collecting, and that's something that people don't really understand. And when you do that, like, and when you don't, I'm trying to say, and when you don't understand that, like, what's it called, you run into different problems with your followers losing interest in your content, your followers unfollowing you, your followers not engaging as much as they used to with your content, things like that. So
Absolutely.
that's
And
important.
that's why sometimes, you know, um, it's best to, let's say for Instagram purposes, it's
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna move from one end to another, it's best for you to just have a new page for you to do
Mm-hmm.
whatever that niche is, because it's to your benefit to restart, as opposed to trying to go through and weed through people that were watching you do something totally different. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's why you have
It's
some
just not gonna
social
work.
media influencers that talk about different things, but
Mm-hmm.
they have several different pages for that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why, because you can't
Mm-hmm.
be, first of all, you can't mix everything because of the algorithm, because the algorithm's gonna be
Right.
like, you crazy, you're totally
Mm-hmm.
crazy, I don't know what to do, you're not telling me what to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
So then now it's like having different pages actually allows the algorithm to know, say this page talks about health and wellness, so they're going to have exercise there, they're going to have vitamins there, they're going to have exercise treatments there and all that stuff. And then this page talks about, you know, beauty, hair, lifestyle, stuff like that. So they're gonna keep, you know, doing stuff like that on there. And they have another page that's all about social media marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you can't have
Right.
all of them all on one. It's not going to work.
And I
And
would
that's
say also, I'm sorry, continue.
go ahead.
Oh, I would also say that like when you're first starting out, I wouldn't have too many divided interests, whether that's on one page or on multiple pages, because you still have to create high quality content regardless of which account you're on and what your niche is in
Absolutely.
that account, or you're gonna fall behind. So I would say not have 100 pages because you're interested in 100 different things. You have to have like maybe
Focus
one or
on
two
one.
pages or whatnot. I would say ideally one, and like focus all your time and energy on that. But then once you really grow that page, then you can what's it called, fraction off into other pages and other interests that you have.
Yeah.
So yeah, because when you do that at first, you're just not ever going to, either on either page or either pages, you're not going to be able to create the high quality content needed to sustain your account and help you grow at the rate you should be growing.
Absolutely. You got to learn how to pivot, like they say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to
Very
learn
much.
when to pivot also, like when to be
Yeah.
able to
And
like
have focus. And that all
yeah,
comes with niching. A lot of people don't have what's it called, focus, and if you don't have focus, then on your accounts you don't know what you're creating. Like it's, they don't understand how hard it's like if one account you're already stressed about growing, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, whatever. and you are still trying to crack the code, you're still trying to try different things or whatnot, imagine how hard it's going to be with 2 accounts and researching a whole different niche and following a whole other set of people and trying to keep up with that and creating high quality content for both of them. It's next to impossible if you really don't have the time freedom and you really don't have the equipment and everything that's necessary in order to do what you want to do. So that's why it's best at first to just start with one until you grow to a level where you can fraction off.
Right. And then when you have that one, be there and really like re-strategize all the time. You know, be able to like go through your content and see exactly what you're offering, what you're saying there, to see how basically how you could actually improve it, because there's always room for improvement, you know. And find and play around with different types of techniques as well. You know, and depending on which platform you're on, then you need to know, like, some platforms are geared towards more inspiration, you know, and then you offer some stuff, but they want to see inspiration. And there are some platforms that basically it's all about teaching somebody how to do something, you know. And so you need to know where you are and what you're doing all about. So I'm really loving this conversation, but of course we cannot continue having it forever. But it was definitely a pleasure to have you on, and I definitely knew that we were going to have a great time. I'm going to take the time to thank each and every one of you guys for supporting Darcy on this live. She is super intelligent, like I had told you guys, super informative, and a little bit of everything, which is really beautiful. So I want to tell you, Darcy, continue to be you. Okay, you are beautiful inside and out, and just continue just standing up for what you believe in, because you're doing a great job. And congratulations once again from being, what is it? Pescatarian, vegetarian to vegan.
Right.
You know, and everything that you know about social media, by all means, just continue doing you. And whenever you want to come back to the Martine Show, please be sure to let me know. We would always love you to come back and give us updates on your journey.
Right.
Okay?
I would love to.
Awesome. So we're going to close tonight. Thank you all for being here. It was awesome. And once again, thank you for supporting Darcy Jackson. Have a good one. Good night.
Bye. Be sure to follow me on all my socials.
Yes, follow Darcy Jackson, which I will be posting when I post the video. Okay?
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you so much for
Bye-bye.
having me on.
You're welcome.